more than 20 students in his career and has published many research papers. So today it's a privilege to have with us Sir for the today's session. So I welcome you again, Sir, on the behalf of AgriMeet for the today's session.
Thank you so
Over to
much.
you, Sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ankur Sharma ji and the whole team of AgriMeet Foundation. And also my dear participants over here. And I feel happy today that the program has commenced on Independence Day of India. So we are moving from Green Revolution and towards Viksit Bharat. So up to 2047, we have certain goals and we have a timeline to achieve certain advancements in the field of agriculture, horticulture, to make India as a leader in the field of crop production, be it agriculture crop production or horticulture crop production. So to achieve that, there are certain interventions which we have to look at it. And on a war footing, we have to strive hard to achieve those interventions and to be a super leader in the field of food production, including the horticulture crops. So today, I'll be dealing about cashew research and how it should progress ahead to be self-sufficient. We call it as Atmanirbharta. Atmanirbharta is a buzzword coined by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. And we have also set some goals till 2047 to be self-sufficient in raw nut production. And with regard to that, I'll be making a presentation today. And I wish the event a grand success. And I congratulate Dr. Ankur Sharma ji for starting this program, and which will be useful to many of the stakeholders, including students and the faculty members. So thank you for the opportunity. Over to you, Dr. Ankur.
सर लेक्चर स्टार्ट करिए सर, आप पीपीटी शेयर करके सर.
Is it visible, Dr. Ankur?
हाँ यस सर, विजिबल. सर एक बार मूव करके और देख लीजिए हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है सर.
Yeah. It's moving?
Done sir. Please start sir. Done.
Thank you. So topic of today's presentation is current scenario of cashew research for Atmanirbhar Bharata. You know, the cashew is a crop of the tropics. Rather, it's a commercial crop. And it's also known as gold mine of the tropics. It's a poor man's crop, but a rich man's nut. It's a popular saying, which you all are aware about cashew. So cashew is not our crop. Actually, it's a crop from Brazil. And the Portuguese travelers during 16th century, they have introduced this crop to India. They brought a few seeds of cashew along with them. And their main intention was to arrest soil and water erosion all along the coast of Goa. And so brought up seeds and planted them over the hilly terrain with the undulating slopey land. And while doing that, they were more passionate about eating cashew apples rather than eating cashew nuts. It's the Indian processors who made the cashew popular and shown to the world that the cashew nut can be processed and a delicious, delectable, tasty kernel can be brought out of the cashew nut. And this is how the cashew was introduced to the world as in the kernel form. Earlier, still in Brazil, people used to eat apple, and they still eat apple, and they have got a lot of products made out of cashew apple, and they relish cashew apple more than the cashew nut. So it's cultivated all along the coastal region of India. Could be east coast, west coast, and also to some extent in the plains of India and northeastern hill regions. And export earnings through the export of raw nuts is not done here. Only the export of kernels. We are realizing around 2,588 crores. But however, our import is more than the export. I will tell you why. So India is the largest consumer of cashew nuts in the world. We consume about 35% of the cashew nuts produced in our country, and the rest is consumed by the people from other countries, mainly USA, UAE, Europe, Australia. So that being the case, our export has been steadily getting reduced over the years. And you know what? In India, any grade of the cashew moves, whereas in other countries, especially Europe, USA, UAE, they eat the whole kernels. But we, the Indians, consume whether it is a whole kernel or a split or maybe pieces or 4 pieces or 8 pieces. We use them in different delicacies. That is the beauty of cashew consumption pattern in India. So looking at the global production of cashew is grown in around 53 countries. More than 53 countries in the world are growing cashew. And we say that India ranks second after West Africa. And that's closely followed by Cambodia, Vietnam, then Brazil, Indonesia. So we were the leaders some time ago in cashew production, processing, and as well as export. And of late, Vietnam has made an entry with respect to export of cashew. And because Vietnam is they hardly consume cashew compared to India, and whatever they produce, they will export to other countries. Whereas West Africa is a bulk supplier of raw nuts. They grow cashew as a wild plantation. They don't systematically cultivate it. And so the cashew production cost is very, very less in West Africa. Whereas in a country like Vietnam, Cambodia, and India, the production cost is higher compared to West Africa because we systematically cultivate cashew. This is the reason why the cashew nut is available at a very damn cheap price from West Africa. So there is a market fluctuation because of this. The domestic nuts actually will be compared to African nuts in terms of the price. When that is done, the Indian nuts attract lesser price because African nuts are available at a damn cheaper price. This is a twist in a trade what you need to learn with respect to cashew trade. And when you look at the trend in world cashew production on kernel basis, and it has been steadily increasing compared to 2009-10, it was somewhere in between 40 to 50 lakh tons. Steadily increased, and on kernel basis, now 7,86,266 tons of kernels have been produced world over, and around 3.6 million tons of raw cashew nuts. See, you can see now it has touched to around 50 lakh tons of metric tons of cashew raw nuts world over. In 1920, it was 36 lakh tons, and in 22-23, it has rose to about 50 lakh tons. Coming to the share of countries to global cashew production, West Africa, as I said, is the leader, closely followed by India. And West Africa has many countries, Benin, Nigeria, Togo. So put together, they are contributing. But India is the sole country which contributes to cashew global production. And so it is now second in the world, closely followed by Vietnam, then East Africa, Brazil, and Cambodia has of late has entered and emerging as a leader with respect to productivity. And you can also see cashews in coming from Indonesia, and it is steadily increasing. West and East Africa are contributing to more than half of the global cashew production. When you look at the trend in area and production of raw cashew nuts over a period of time, the area was around 1.5 lakh hectares between 1971 to 1981. But up to 2021, the area has increased to 10 lakh hectares now. And similarly, when you look at the production, 1.5 lakh tons to we have moved to 7.3 lakh tons. You can see nearly 7 times jump in the production from 1971-72 to 2020-21. So we have a challenge with respect to export. We have a low availability of raw nuts. Our production is 7 lakh tons, whereas our requirement is 15 lakh tons. So that is the demand, especially in the domestic market. So we have to double up the current production of 7.3 lakh tons of cashew nuts. This is coming to India's export trend. What is it? 2017-18, it was around $922.4 million, and it has come down to $290.9 million. The reason is we are the largest consumers of cashew nut. So earlier we used to consume say around 50 to 60 grams per capita. Now that has increased to 250 grams, nearly quarter kilo each individual is consuming cashew kernels per year. So when you compare to country-wise share of Indian cashew export, UAE is the largest buyer from India, contributing to 131 billion US dollars, closely followed by Japan, the Netherlands, Saudi Arabia, Vietnam, and followed by some of the countries from Europe. And mainly the US market has been captured by Vietnam. And of late, USA is investing a lot of dollars in African countries to encourage processing industries so that the transport cost from Africa to USA will be lesser compared to transport cost from India to USA. And that is why they can get the kernels at a lower price compared to what they are getting from Vietnam or India. So in this context, there is a huge scope for area expansion in cashew in India in view of reduced availability of nuts from Africa, because Africans are now starting up their own industries, either from their own fund or the fund from United States of America. So this has led to the reduction in the export of raw nuts to India and Vietnam. Given this scenario, though Indian processors will fall short of nuts, even the imported nuts will not be available to them in a few years from now. And that is the reason why we need to expand the area, we need to increase the productivity, and thereby we need to increase the production of cashew nuts in the country. When you look at the percent share of area in our country, Andhra Pradesh and Odisha are leading in area expansion. But whereas when you come to the production and productivity, Maharashtra is the leader. Maharashtra is the leader in cashew nut productivity, and their productivity hovers around 1.2 to 1.4 tons per hectare, whereas our national average productivity is 0.73 tons per hectare. This clearly indicates that if you follow systematically the cultivation practices followed in Maharashtra, followed by farmers of Maharashtra, definitely there is scope to double up the production of cashew nuts in the country. Am I audible, Dr. Ankur?
Yes, sir, audible, sir.
Okay. So trends in prices of raw cashew nuts from 1990 to 2006. Here I have made a graphical representation. There is a huge fluctuation in the price of raw nuts, and it has increased over the years. In somewhere around 1991, the price of the raw nut was less than 20 rupees. Now it has moved to around 120, 140 rupees per kilo of raw nut. And for your knowledge, if you process 4 kilo of raw nut, you can expect 1 kilo of a kernel. This is the outturn percentage in cashew. And the price of the raw nuts is highly dynamic. It depends on global price of raw nuts. How much nut we are getting from Africa at what cost, that decides the raw nut price in India. If the processors are getting a raw nut from Africa at a cost of 70 rupees, then the Indian cashew raw nuts will be priced hardly around 100 to 110 rupees, not more than that. Whereas if the now at present, as on today, the price of the raw nut imported from Africa is around 140 to 150 rupees a kilo. Given that condition, Indian raw nuts will definitely fetch more than 150 rupees a kilo. And this is a simple uh, trade trick that's followed by the processors. Oh, when look at the growth rate of export of cashew kernels and CNSL, as I say, it's a negative trend with respect to cashew kernel export. And CNSL quantity, it has slightly improved now over the years compared to the previous decade. Now the CNSL export has improved, whereas the import of cashew raw nut has increased. It has got a positive trend because our consumption pattern has resulted in the increasing trend of import of cashew raw nuts. For achieving Atmanirbharata in cashew nut production, we need to address some of the issues. These are some of the issues. We have most of the area of cashew in India are neglected and low fertile soils and located on hill slopes and eroded soil. When a hill slope and eroded soils are selected for cashew, definitely the nutrient level of the soils are less, and thereby you cannot expect higher productivity. And old and senile plantation is another issue to be addressed. So you know the cashew plantations owned by government departments, especially Karnataka Cashew Development, Orissa Cashew Development Corporation, then Kerala Cashew Development Corporations, and even in Chhattisgarh and many parts of the country wherein the government agencies have owned nearly 35% of the area occupied in India. These plantations are old and senile, and their productivity is very, very, very less. Given that condition, we cannot expect higher nut production unless we rejuvenate such plantations or we take up replanting in such plantations. And plantations of seedling origin, we've got a plantations of more than 50 years old. Such plantations are mostly of seedling origin, and of late, say last 3 to 4 decades, the technique of softwood grafting became popular in cashew. And when you replace these seedling origins with the softwood grafted plantations, we can expect higher yield from plantations. No proper nutrient management, especially in areas where cashew is given third or fourth preference. So you can see the coastal Karnataka, or you can say even coastal Kerala. Therein, the main crop is coconut or arecanut. So the farmers give prominence to these two crops because arecanut price is very high these days. So they are minting money like gold in arecanut. That is why they are least bothered about the cashew plantation. So when that is the condition, they don't apply nutrients. They don't do pruning. This is the reason why the cashew productivity has gone down over the years. Severe pest infestations in endemic nature. You know the two major pests of cashew are tea mosquito bug and cashew stem and root borer. So when you neglect a plantation, these two pests take upper hand and the overall productivity of the plantation comes down. The improper soil and water management practices is another issue. So here, when cashew is grown on a slopy land, on a hilly terrain, you need to conserve the irrigation, conserve the soil, you need to conserve the moisture so that you can expect a better yield from a plantation. Then canopy management is another issue. If you don't attend to manage the canopy, it grows like a forest. The cashew orchard becomes a cashew forest, and you cannot expect better yield when the light penetration is low. And low density planting, because when you lose a plantation because of the attack of cashew stem and root borer, the plant population per hectare goes down. And when you do not replant in those areas, the low density of an orchard leads to lower productivity. Then lack of awareness in value addition of cashew apple. This is an important aspect which is neglected by almost all the farmers except the farmers of Goa who utilize the cashew apple for producing an alcoholic beverage called feni. 1 kg of a cashew produces around 8 to 9 kgs of cashew apple. So we say cashew yield is less, that is 700 kilos a hectare. But if you take a count on cashew apples, you get 10 times of that of the 700 kg. So you can say 7 tons of apple, nearly 7 tons of apple, and 1 ton of, 700 kgs of nut. So the overall yield will be around 7.5 to 8 tons per hectare when you take the count of cashew apple. But we are throwing the cashew apple. So we have developed a technology to give value, to add value to the cashew apple, which is otherwise wasted. That's how a farmer can earn additional income by adding value to cashew apple. Then increase in the import is another issue because we are not self-sufficient. So how to address all this issue? I will explain in the coming slides. First and foremost thing is selection of an improved variety. Our directorate, along with the 14 of the ASARP centers, we have developed around 65 varieties in cashew. 65 varieties of cashew. We have specified the varieties region-wise. When cashew is grown in Tamil Nadu, we recommend Vridhachalam 3, Vridhachalam 5. And for Kerala, we recommend Dhana, Kanaka, Madakatara 2, Priyanka, Vridhachalam 3, and the dwarf cashew called 𝐃𝐴𝐸 Nihara, which is suitable for high density planting. When it comes to Andhra Pradesh, there are BPP series, BPP 4 and 8 are very popular. We also recommend Dhana, which is a variety from Kerala, and also VRI3 variety from Tamil Nadu for Andhra Pradesh. And for Karnataka, there are a lot of varieties which are suitable, like Chintamani 1, NRCC selection 2, Ullal 1, Ullal 3, Ullal 4, UN50. We have Bhaskara, we have Vengurla 4, Vengurla 7, Vridhachalam 3, Madakatara 2, Netra Jumbo 1, Netra Ganga, and Netra Ubaya. For Maharashtra, Vengurla series are popular, Vengurla 4, 7, and 9. Vengurla 9 is a dual purpose variety again. And for Goa, Goa 1, Goa 2, Vengurla 4 and Vengurla 7 are ideal. For Odisha, we have Bhubaneswar 1, Bhubaneswar 2, Dhana, BPP8, Jagannath and Balbhadra. And also OUAT Kalinga Kaju is a recently released variety. And for West Bengal, we have got Jhargram 1, BPP8, Bidan Bonsai Kaju. It's again a variety which is suitable for high density planting as it's highly pruning responsive. And when you look at the recent varieties released from our directorate, we have released NRCC selection 2, which is an early season variety. The advantage of selecting an early season variety in cashew is that it can utilize the residual moisture in the soil to the most effective manner so that early yield can be expected. When the crop comes early in the market, the early market nuts will fetch higher price compared to the mid and late season. This is the advantage of this variety. But you should be careful about tea mosquito bug attack. Tea mosquito bug attack will be highest during the winter season, and you need to take up enough sprays to tackle tea mosquito bug. Bhaskara is another variety which is mid-season variety of cashew, and it has got a special mechanism of escaping TMB attack. It's a mid-season variety, and even when the TMB is attacked, it can produce additional flush, leading to flower production. And its apples are very good for transport. It has got a slightly I mean, thicker skin, you can say. Actual color is attractive. Netraganga is a variety. It's again an early season variety. It is bred from crossing NRCC selection 2 and Bedasi, a germplasm from Maharashtra. And it's a highly pruning responsive variety. You can plant Netraganga grafts under high density planting also. The Netra Vaman is a dwarf type, which is actually accession introduced from Brazil. We have improved upon that, introduced accession, and we have released it as Netra Vaman, which is very ideal for terrace gardening and also for backyard planting. And Netra Jumbo 1 is another jumbo nut hybrid from our directorate. And it's also an early season variety, which can fetch early market and higher price. The Netra Ubaya is a dual purpose variety developed from our directorate, wherein both cashew apples and nuts are utilized. Cashew apple has less astringency is one thing. You know what? The cashew apples have got a vitamins and content nearly 4 times that of oranges. So eating 1 kg of cashew apple is equivalent to eating 4 kgs of apple, orange. So that is the advantage of eating cashew apple. It's rich in vitamin C, and this Netra Ubaya is rich in, very less in tannin content. Tannin is the one a compound which causes a tingling sensation when you eat cashew apples. So you don't get such a sensation, and you can easily relish cashew apples of Netra Ubaya. This is the jumbo nut hybrid, what I said, dedicated to our country by Honorable Prime Minister of India on 11th of August. It's developed by my team. It took nearly 20 years to develop this hybrid. As a result of ICR network project on hybridization on cashew, we have developed this Netra Jumbo. As the name suggests, it's a jumbo sized. You see 12 to 13 gram nut weight. And another feature is uniformity in nut size. Uniformity in nut size is very important. You can avoid grading the nuts when the nuts are of uniform size. If a cashew variety produces around 50% of smaller nut and 50% of bigger nut, then the smaller nuts will attract lesser price and bigger nuts attract more price. But in this hybrid, almost all the nuts have uniformity in nut size. That is why a farmer can simply dry the nuts and sell it to the trader at highest possible cost. So higher market price, it can fetch 10 rupees extra than other varieties. 50% reduction in manpower. This is a significant feature of this variety. Per ton of nut yield, a farmer can ensure 25 to 26%, 26,000 rupees additional benefit. How you know? Cashew labor requirement for harvesting is nearly 35 to 40%. Whereas here that can be reduced, as here the number of nuts is hardly 75 to 80 per kilo, whereas in other varieties it ranges from 150 to 180 nuts per kilo. So you can reduce the labor requirement by 50%. You get additional revenue of 10 rupees per kilo. Then from processing angle, they need a variety where the testa is easily peelable. So cashew testa, it's tightly adhered to the kernel in most of the varieties. Whereas this variety, the peeling can be done easily so that the kernel recovery at processing industry will be faster compared to other varieties. And shelling percentage, so any cashew variety, we expect a shelling percentage of 28 and more. Then only we recommend it for a release. And this has a shelling percentage of 29%. It means to say that by processing 10 kilo of raw nut, you can expect 29 kilo of kernels. The kernel weight is 3.3 gram and the grade is W130. You have not heard about this grade so far. Nobody, there is no grade like 130 available in any of the international market. The highest grade available is W130. This is bigger than W130 and this can be graded as W180, and this can be graded as W130. It means that by putting 130 number of kernels, you can realize 1 pound of a kernel. Whereas W180, you need 180 kernels. Here, just with 130 kernels, you can expect 1 pound of weight. And potential yield of 1.65, now recently it has the 2 tons per hectare. It's recommended for coastal region of Karnataka and Kerala. This is Netra Ubaya, as I said, a dual purpose cashew genotype. It has got a high shelling percentage. You can say 35% is the shelling percentage. From 10 kilo, you can expect 3.5 kilo of kernels. It's early fruiting, January to March. Kernel grade is W210. And nut yield also high. Apple yield is very high. And it is, someone has raised a hand. Any doubt? Hello?
सर डाउट क्लियरिंग सेशन बाद में रखेंगे, डाउट क्लियरिंग
Yes,
सेशन जब
yes,
कंप्लीट
yes.
हो जाएगी पीपीटी तब
Yes,
रखेंगे सर। वो चैट
yes,
बॉक्स में
yes.
अपना क्वेश्चन लिखेंगे, मैं उसको
Yes.
बोलूंगा सर, आप उस क्वेरी को रिजॉल्व करेंगे।
Yes.
जी
So
सर,
TSS
ओके
of TSS of the apple is 14.93 degree Brix. So usually cashew TSS ranges from 9 degree to 12 degree Brix and up to 13 degree, and this variety has 14.93 degree Brix of TSS, indicates that apples are sweeter, and you can utilize the cashew apples for juice production and for production of jam, and even you can produce a wine as it's got a higher sugar content. So what not? You can then this is a variety from West Bengal. We have recently released it. Bidan Bonsai Kaju. As the name suggests, you can trim it like bonsai. To whatever extent you prune it, it produces flowers, it produces nuts in cluster. It's an excellent variety for high density planting. And we have recommended this for high density planting for expecting higher yield in the initial years of plantation itself. So this is a highly responsive to pruning. Shelling percentage is quite high. It is frost tolerant. This is another important feature of this variety. Wherever frost problem is there, you can suggest this variety. One can suggest this variety. It's suitable for high density planting, as I said, even for ultra high density planting. High density is one wherein we maintain give a distance of 4 meter by 4 meter, whereas ultra high density we give a spacing of 3 meter by 3 meter in cashew, accommodating 1,111 plants per hectare. It is tolerant to drought condition and easily recovered from natural calamities, that is hailstorm. Hailstorm damage is a common phenomenon these days in West Bengal, then even in Orissa. And this is an excellent variety which can withstand hailstorm damage and can quickly recover from hailstorm damage. This 𝐃𝐚𝐲𝐬 Cashew 1 is another recent variety released from ACRP Center of DCR Puttur, located at Odisha, Bhubaneswar, under OE80. This is medium-sized variety with a kernel weight of 2.5 to 2.7 gram and shelling percentage 30 to 31%, and it falls under W180 kernel grade, and it has got a higher yield than BPP8, which is a popular variety of Orissa as well as Andhra Pradesh. And this variety can escape the moderate outbreak of tea mosquito bug, as this is a late flowering type. See, when the flowering is medium to late in cashew, the TMB population will be less in the plantation, because TMB population will be high in the early season, somewhere in the winter months up to January, and from February 15 onwards, slash declining as the temperature goes up. And as the varieties, when the variety is a mid to late season flowering, it can escape the attack of TMB. And it is recommended as an alternative to BPP8 and Balbhadra in TMB-prone cashew growing areas of Odisha. And it is suitable for cultivation in the coastal tract of Odisha. And this is another unique cashew genotype from DCR Puttur. The nut orientation is slanting, whereas it is straight in other varieties. It's a very big apple. So far, among the accessions, we have around 540 germplasm collections in our institute. And overall, when you combine the ACRP, it goes to around 1,800 germplasm collections. That's a huge collection we have got. That's why we'll be in a position to develop new varieties which are suitable to take up cultivation in dryland areas, areas with vagaries of nature, maybe drought or maybe hailstorm, and even the cold temperature. And there is one variety called Indira Kaju, which is bred at Jagdalpur, our ACRP center at Jagdalpur, which can tolerate severe cold, which is prevailing in northern India, especially in Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. And that variety is very suitable. That is Indira Kaju. And this NRC 301 is early fruiting one and kernel weight of 3.74 grams. And apple weight is 183 gram, and it is highly suitable for value addition in apple. Coming to biotechnological advancements that's done at our institute, at global level, we are the pioneers in with respect to draft genome of cashew. We have developed and we have published in our literature. We are the pioneers in developing the draft genome of cashew. And first tests of genic markers were developed and reported at global level from our institute. And we have also taken up interspecific and intraspecific mapping populations we have generated between Anacardium occidental and Microcarpum. Microcarpum is an introduced relative of Anacardium. And then Netra Vaman and Netra Ganga. Vaman is a dwarf type. Ganga is a vigorous type. We have developed mapping population from the progenies of these hybrids. And microsatellite database also we have created for cashew, which has got a repository of over 42,000 microsatellites. So we are pioneers in even the biotechnological advancements of cashew at global level. And this is a recent approach that we have taken up, interstalk grafting. So you might have heard about this interstalk grafting in apples. And for the first time, we have introduced this in cashew, because when I was working in a Central Coffee Research Institute, I was the first one to try interstalk grafting in coffee to introduce rust resistance in rust susceptible varieties of cashew. Here also, in cashew, most of the released varieties are vigorous in nature. When the plant is vigorous, you need to give wider spacing, say 8 meter by 8 meter or 7 meter by 7 meter. And we have got a limitation in the number with respect to dwarf germplasm. So to curtail the vigor of the popular varieties, which are very extensive in growth habit, now we have introduced, we have introduced an interstalk between rootstock and scion. When you introduce an interstalk, there will be a reduction in the mobility of metabolites between rootstock to scion. That will lead to reduction in the vigor of the scion cultivar. With this idea, we have taken up interstalk grafting, and it is showing promise now with respect to curtailing the vigor of scion varieties. And when you are successful with this, any variety we can fit into high density planting without resorting to severe pruning practices. Rejuvenation and top working. As I said, 35% of our 10 lakh hectare, 11 lakh hectare is under senile plantations. So you can say that nearly 3 to 3.5 lakh hectares are senile. When the plantation is senile, the yield will be very, very, very low. So to overcome that, we have developed a technology to rejuvenate such plantations by top working as well as by limb pruning. So main aim of this rejuvenation is to improve the productivity of existing old senile plantations. There are two aspects: rejuvenation by limb pruning as such. When the variety is a well-known variety, high-yielding varieties, and which is suffering from yield because of low management practices, we can simply subject it to limb pruning
and allow it to rejuvenate. Whereas if the variety is of seedling origin, nondescript origin, you can take up grafting over the new shoots produced from the top orchid plant, new shoot produced from the limb prune plantation. Then this is another technology which can take us towards Atmanirbharta, ultra high density planting in cashew. You can accommodate 1,100 to 1,600 plants per hectare. We can improve the nut yield 3 to 4 times over the existing yield what we get under normal density planting. Right now, we have standardized the technology for VRI3 variety of cashew, and this targeted yield can be achieved within a short span of time. And the optimum dose for predicted mean yield of 2.55 kg per tree is 70 gram N, 22.5 gram of P, and 40 gram of potash per tree. See, 2.25 kg per tree, you multiply it with 1,100, it comes to nearly 2.4 tons per hectare. Where is 700 kg? Where is 2.4 tons? So nearly 3 to 3.5 times increase in the yield. That can definitely take us towards Atmanirbharta. And we have compared between different spacings. Conventional method of low density planting, either 8 meter by 8 meter or 7 meter by 7 meter. You can hardly accommodate up to 204 plants per hectare. Yield will be 1 to 1.5 tons per hectare. Whereas under high density planting, it could be either 5 by 5 or 4 by 4. We can accommodate 400 to 625 plants per hectare, and we can realize 2 to 2.5 tons per hectare. Whereas ultra high density planting, either 3 by 3 or 2.5 by 2.5, we can realize 3 to 4 tons per hectare. This is the potential of technology. Next, manuring and fertilizer application, the dosage differs from area, region to region. But most of the farmers in traditional areas, they don't apply fertilizers to cashew. But if you apply the fertilizers, definitely they can develop the productivity of the nation. And we have developed an app, ICR DCR fertilizer calculator, especially for cashew. Soil and water management is essential in slopy lands. So when you do this, the residual moisture will be available for additional 2 months for cashew flowers to produce nuts and with a better filling compared to the places where soil and water management are not taken up. Now I'll move to pest and disease management. Another aspect which is very, very important and which is neglected in cashew. Tea mosquito bug. You must have heard about this pest on tea. But the species which attacks tea is Helopeltis theovora. But whereas in cashew, it is Helopeltis antony is the major culprit attacking cashew. The yield loss could be up to 70 to 80% in severe cases if you do not take up any measures for containing this pest. So we need to spray lambda-cyhalothrin in combination with profenopause. The first spray will be lambda-cyhalothrin when the cashew produces new flushes. And when it is flowering, you need to spray profenopause because lambda-cyhalothrin is not pollinator friendly, whereas profenopause is not so detrimental to pollinators. Or you can go for triazophoz, 1.5 ml per liter. They're found to be very, very effective. And besides, we've also found thiamethoxam at 0.2 gram per liter and acetamiprid at 0.5 gram per liter or fipronil at 2 ml per liter as very, very effective insecticides for managing tea mosquito bug. 3 sprays are definitely required for cashew, one at the time of vegetative flush, second at the time of panicle emergence, and third time at fruit setting. Usually the life cycle of this pest lasts for about 21 days. And initially when the attack is severe, we recommend to repeat the spray after 21 days. Okay. then cashew stem and root borer, it will kill the tree. Whereas tea mosquito bug will kill the crop only. It will kill only the flowers and fruits. Whereas this can kill the whole tree. The incidence of the pest is around 10%, the whole plantation. Early detection is very, very important. And dead trees have to be uprooted and they have to be disposed of from the location. And affected bark, we can see the extrusion of frost from the affected parts. And we have to remove the bark and we have to remove the grubs which are feeding inside. And then we have to swab the tree with chloropyrifos or now chloropyrifos has been withdrawn. It's going to be withdrawn. And so we are recommending fipronil at 2 ml per liter as an effective insecticide for managing cashew stem and root borer. Then the pest change scenario has been changed. Also, other minor pests are becoming major these days. The Anarcia species was found to be very devastating in March, April months. When TMB is not there, this Anarcia will take the lead with respect to pest attack. And nut size will reduce by 30% when Anarcia attacks the nuts. And another one is flower thrips, haplothrips, then the schirothrips, then even thrips palmi, then indothrips, and even Indo-Pushani. They are all noticed on cashew flowers for the first time. And beside the occurrence of the citri thrips, as apple and nut borer was also noticed for the first time in Puttur. So apple and nut borer is another pest wherein it attacks at the juncture of connection between apple and the nut, and it leads to damage to the kernel as well as to the apple. And this is the phenological stages we have identified in cashew according to BBCS scale. We have standardized. That's also for the first time in the global level. We have standardized BBCS scale for cashew, and many researchers across the globe are referring our article. And we have found some stages which are highly sensitive to the pest attack. The stage 110 to 313 is a tender shoot stage. And 511 to 519, the developing panicle stage, and 611 to 615 is a flowering stage. All these three stages are susceptible to TMB attack. And this phenological coding will be useful when we introduce a revised weather-based crop insurance scheme for cashew, and we can fix the insurance amount at what stage the cashew is affected and yield is affected. And based on that, the insurance agencies will get an idea if you specifically cite the phenological stages. And this is in practice in developed countries. Okay. Then stage 119 to 313 is expanding tender leaf stage. It's susceptible to leaf miner. And then 715 to 811, it is nut and apple development stage. They are susceptible to apple and nut borer. So all these stages you should be watchful, and you should take up proper management practices to contain these pests. Now, eco-friendly approaches are buzzword these days, and to reduce the pollution of the environment. And we have taken up new studies, and we are in the process of developing a pheromone for tea mosquito bug. And we are finding encouraging result. And within, say, 1 to 2 years, we will come up with an effective pheromone for trapping tea mosquito bugs. And we can avoid the spray of insecticides, and we can move towards producing organic cashew. This is the trend in TMB is trapped. So days after emergence, how it influences the maximum number of TMBs were trapped during 4 days after emergence and 5 days after emergence, and attraction continued till 10 days after emergence. This is the peak period of attraction to the pheromones. And for non-chemical control of cashew stem and root borer, we have found out that entomopathogenic nematodes are very, very effective in managing the grubs of cashew stem and root borer. So you just have to put a culture of these entomopathogenic nematodes and see that moisture is maintained in the soil, and they will take care of cashew stem and root borer grubs, and effectively they can attack the grubs. And this is the, see, you can entomopathogenic nematodes out of the cashew grubs. They have completely invaded the grubs. And for the first time at global level, we have reported the cashew leaf blight disease caused by new Pistoloxius clavispora from our plantation, Directorate of Cashew Research. And especially this is severe in the seedling stage in the nursery. We have developed machineries to reduce the drudgery and improve the efficiency of quality production of raw nuts. We have juice extractors, we have rotary graders, updraft gasifiers, and recently we have developed a very, very accurate moisture meter for determining the moisture of raw nut as well as the kernels. And we have developed gadgets for harvesting cashew apples. So far, no gadget is available for harvesting cashew apples. We have developed a gadget wherein blemish-free cashew apple can be harvested, and that can be effectively utilized for consuming fresh cashew apple for table purpose, and as well as value adding the cashew apples through various methods. This is a farm mechanization. Battery operated telescopic cashew fruit harvester, you can see over here. And this is a fruit collector. Fruit collection is a very tedious job in cashew. A labor can collect hardly 12 to 14 kilos of raw nut per day, whereas using this gadget, one can collect up to 40 kilos per hour. You can imagine the efficiency of this machinery. Application of drone in cashew plantation. This is mainly, our aim is to reduce the cost of cultivation in cashew and also reduce the energy consumption in the spraying, and also reduce the chemicals to keep the environment as safe as possible. The magic of drone is that just with the 30 liters of water, you can cover one acre of plantation. Otherwise, you need 300 liters of water. You can save the water 10 times, and you need 3 hours to spray a plantation of 1 acre with a manual method. Whereas using drones, within 20 minutes, you can cover 1 acre. You can imagine how much time we are saving, how much of water we are saving. And also we can reduce the dosage of pesticide also. The concentration of pesticide will be reduced in the environment. So we have got 3 agricultural drones, 2 exclusively for spraying activities and demonstration in farmers field, and 1 for spectral imaging. So using a spectral imaging drone, you can quantify the attack of tea mosquito bug, cashew stem and root borer in the whole plantation, so that your management becomes easy. You can target a particular patch of plantation using the drone images, and you can straight away move to that patch of the plantation and take up the control measure. So the time gap is reduced, so that yield reduction can be drastically reduced by early identification of an affected part. And another application of the drone is yield quantification in a plantation. So a farmer can find out how much yield he can get by looking at the fruit set, which is then this will catch the aerial images and spectral images. Using spectral images, we can deduce the possible yield from the plantation. So farmers are very happy, and with respect to spraying of micronutrients, and of late we have developed a micronutrient mix also for cashew. When the cashew starts flushing, we can spray using the drone, and it can increase the yield nearly 1.5 times. And another one thing I did not cover here is irrigation in cashew. Cashew is normally grown as a rain-fed crop, but if you irrigate cashew, yield will enhance by 1.5 times. If a tree is yielding 10 kg, if you provide irrigation, just protective irrigation, the same tree can yield 15 kilos when irrigation is required. Because the cashew flowering starts in the month of December, then January continues out to February, March, and even to April, depending on the season of flowering, early, mid, and late. And the moisture reduction also happens from January onwards. When the tree needs maximum moisture, the soil will be devoid of that moisture. To take care of that, we can introduce protective irrigation for just 3 months. Just 3 months. And that too, for an adult plantation, it needs just 20 liter per tree per day. And either 20 liter per day or 80 liters once in 4 days through drip is sufficient to enhance the yield 1.5 times in cashew. And similarly, we have also standardized the practice for fertigation in cashew. When you introduce fertigation, you can reduce the fertilizer requirement by 50%. You can reduce the fertilizer requirement by 50%, and the irrigation will enhance the yield by 1.5 times. So this is the wonder of technology, which can boost the productivity of cashew more than 1.5 times and even up to 2 times. Yes, now coming to value addition. You should not throw apples here afterwards, cashew apples. You can produce a chew out of cashew apple. You can produce cookies from cashew apple powder. You can produce vegan milk from cashew sprouts. And the cashew nut is allowed to sprout under hygienic conditions. Using the kernel, if you grind the kernel, you can extract very nutritious milk. That is vegan milk. And from cashew apple powder, you can produce kurkure, what children love. But this is a healthy kurkure without the addition of maida and other things. Then sprouts can be marketed as such. You can produce again cookies out of sprouts. This is a fruit bar. Next one is a fruit bar. We have blended cashew apple pulp and guava pulp so that, that there will be a further enhancement of vitamin C content. It's a very popular product. Cashew apple jelly, very attractive. Cash lime is another blend of cashew apple juice and lime juice. And it's a ready to serve beverage, and we have commercialized it. And we have produced jam also. And the last one, what you see is vacuum fried chips of cashew apple. Very nutritious vacuum fried chips of cashew apple. And many more products we have developed. We have also developed an RTS. We have developed actually cider, cashew apple cider, which has got 44% alcohol. And recently we have also standardized a technology for cashew apple wine, about 14% alcohol. And even in Goa, Feni is popular. There are two types, Urak and Feni. You must have heard about Feni, but not about Urak. Urak is a single distilled liquor developed out of cashew apple. And when you distill it again, you will get Feni. Urak contains about 14% alcohol, whereas Feni contains around 42% alcohol. Okay. Then coming to mobile apps. So we have developed Cashew India app, which I will come later. Now this is a artificial intelligence based app. It is called as Cashew Protect. So sitting at the corner of a plantation, a farmer need not consult a scientist for identifying a pest. Using this app, a farmer has to capture a picture. And once he captures the picture, the app will guide him to find out what is that pest and what is the management practice. So still, if he has got any queries, he can consult a particular scientist. That option is always available. But this is an artificial intelligence app which is becoming very popular these days in cashew, and there are visitors from various countries which grow cashew. is about cashew protect. We have already identified 6 pests and 1 disease of cashew. We have standardized all images. And it is developed in 11 languages. That is another advantage of this app. It is available in all languages wherein cashew is grown. Even in northeastern language, Odisha, Odia language, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, Hindi, all 11 languages it's available on Google Play Store. This is a very popular app we have developed for the cashew cultivation, even including graft booking of grafts, even the market scenario, market trend, everything, even the ITK practices in cashew, then pollination and pollinators in cashew, all the things are included in Cashew India app. It's a very popular app among cashew growers, and it's also available in 11 languages. So with this, weeding is another aspect which is with using logic, one can contain the weeds. Usually in coastal area, you need 3 rounds of weeding, whereas in other non-traditional areas wherein rainfall is less, you can manage with 2 rounds of weeding. And come to harvesting. Harvesting, usually cashew plant starts yielding right from 2nd year. Under high density planting, we advocate harvesting from 2nd year, sometimes even in the 1st year if the growth is good. Whereas under normal density, we recommend harvesting from 3rd year onwards. 3rd year tree will yield anywhere between 0.5 to 1.25 kgs. And if the management is good, it can yield even 2 kilos a plant. And an adult tree can yield up to 25 to 30 kilo a tree. And from 10th year onwards, it starts yielding, and the canopy should be properly maintained. Training and pruning is very, very important here in cashew. And it is usually trained to modified leader system. And when you maintain a cashew in a modified leader system and you have to train it like an umbrella, you can expect maximum yield from cashew because it's a peripheral flowering habit cashew has got. And by pruning alone, pruning the dead and crisscross branches and dry branches, one can realize around a 25 to 30% higher yield in cashew. So this is in brief about achieving Atmanirbharta in cashew, how you can increase the yield in cashew through various technologies and recent technologies in cashew. So I rest my presentation here and over to the audience for discussion. Thank you.
सर कुछ लोगों के क्वेश्चंस हैं जो चैट बॉक्स में आ रहे हैं, मैं वन बाय वन उनको पढ़ रहा हूं, तो आप काइंडली उनका रिप्लाई करिएगा सर। लिखा है कि वेरी इंफॉर्मेटिव प्रेजेंटेशन सर, कैन वी गो फॉर इंटरक्रॉपिंग ऑफ cashew with erica nut?
No, I'll suggest cashew. Cashew can withstand any intercrop which grows lesser in height than cashew. That's all. No crop should overgrow cashew in height. Areca nut is not possible. But
okay, sure, okay.
You can take up vegetable cultivation, you can take up medicinal plants, you can take up aromatic plants, and any low growing crops which can be trained like a bush. Even bush pepper you can grow. And pepper is an ideal crop for cashew, wherein you can train the vines on branches of cashew. When the cashew grows around 5 years old, that is a time wherein you can train the pepper vines over the branches of cashew, and you can realize additional 2 to 3 kilo from pepper. Pepper alone 2 to 3 kilo means it's 1,500 rupees. A plant you can expect from pepper alone.
Next question, sir.
Yeah.
Will cashew cultivation helps in doubling farmers' income?
Definitely. The farmers in Karnataka and parts of Tamil Nadu, they have taken up high density planting in cashew, and they have doubled up the income compared to other farmers. More than double, even 2.5 times.
Okay, sure. Next question. Is it possible to grow cashew in Bihar?
Bihar, it depends on the soil type, temperature, maximum and minimum temperatures. What I said, that cashew comes up well at a temperature range of 18 degree to 35 degrees Celsius. And winter temperature should not remain less than 10 degree for a month. If that is the condition and soil is red sandy loam, then cashew can be grown in that area. And it should altitude also, it should not be too high. And when the altitude increases, the temperature goes down. So it depends on the area. Like in Bundelkhand area, you can go for cashew. In Darisai, you can grow for cashew. In Jharkhand, parts of Jharkhand, you can grow for cashew. Bihar, if you specify the altitude, soil type, and temperature, then I can suggest whether cashew can be grown or not.
How to
Northeast
identify
India.
the
Northeast India is a very ideal place. There is one question about Northeast India. Yes, cashew can be easily grown, and we are expanding area there through various programs. Next question.
how to identify the adulteration in cashew nut?
You have to eat cashew nut and find out. Adulteration, see, for a regular cashew consumer, you can easily find out the adulteration by crunching a single nut. Okay.
Okay. What is the dose of insecticide used in pest management by drone for TMB and CSRV?
Yeah, actually, we are now standardizing the SOP for drone. Right now, we are using the same concentration, like 0.6 ml per liter. But we need only 10 liters, 30 liters to cover 1 hectare of plantation.
Next, sir, thanks for the info. Is there any feasibility to grow in Uttarakhand plains or hills?
Uttarakhand hills, definitely not possible. Uttarakhand plain, what is the temperature? I need to know. If you specify the temperature and humidity and the coldest part of the period with the temperature range and how long that cold remains, then I can definitely say. As of now, there is nobody has grown cashew there. But
Okay,
definitely you can try with Indira Kaju, which is available in Jagdalpur.
Next, sir, very nice presentation. Thank you. Very informative lecture. Thank you. Next,
Thank you so
can
much.
it survive floods? Can it survive floods?
It can survive flood only for a week, not more than that.
Okay,
If the water submergence is there for more than a week, then cashew will die.
okay. May I know the mechanism in काजू? एक पूछ रहे हैं डॉक्टर सतीश जी कि may I know the mechanism क्या है इसमें काजू में?
No, mechanism means, is it mechanization?
शायद यही कह रहे होंगे कि क्या मैकेनाइजेशन है इसमें?
Oh, acha. Mechanization, see, with respect to production, we have mechanized cashew, harvesting of cashew apple, then picking of cashew apple, separating of cashew apple from the nut. So we have all applied for 6 patents recently. We have done mechanization.
Okay,
with respect to processing, it is totally mechanized. From, right from, feeding the nut up to the final products is totally mechanized. Fully automated machines are available in cashew.
Next question है sir, Dr. Jailin Rani ji हैं. Yes, sir, which kind of fats present in cashew? Either HDL or LDL?
No, we have got HDL. Very healthy fat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice presentation, sir. Very informative lecture. Sir, can you please share PPT? Sir, can you please share PPT? ये भी question बहुत है.
Yeah. I will share PDF version to you on email so that you can.
Okay, sir. मैं उसको float कर दूंगा. जी, sir.
Yeah.
What are the okay, sir? What are the practices recommended in UHDP, ultra high density planting per year? On what precautions to be taken?
Yeah, main practice in ultra high density planting is canopy management, especially pruning. We will be pruning at 1.5 meter height from the base, and we will be restricting the spread to another 1.5 meters on both the sides because the spacing is 3 meter by 3 meter. And we are following it up with the spray of lambda cyhalothrin followed by acetamiprid for controlling T mosquito bug. And also when the cut is bigger, we smear it with Bodo paste and also take up a fungicidal spray to avoid fungal attack.
जी जी जी।
Yeah.
एक का वही क्वेश्चन है कि हिमाचल में हो सकता है कि नहीं, वो आप ऑलरेडी दे चुके हैं उसका
नहीं
आंसर।
हिमाचल में नहीं हो सकता
हाँ
है।
जी जी जी। प्रोस्पेक्ट ऑफ एंड फ्यूचर ऑफ काजू इन नॉन ट्रेडिशनल ड्राई बेल्ट्स, क्या इसका फ्यूचर है नॉन ट्रेडिशनल ड्राई बेल्ट्स में?
Definitely, there is a lot of scope in non-traditional dry belt because non-traditional areas, what we have seen in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, they are very, very ideal for cashew cultivation. Mainly because they have got the advantage of the soil, red sandy loam soil, and also the pest incidence is less compared to the traditional area. Thereby, management is easy, and they are realizing nearly about 40 to 50% higher yield than traditional parts of cashew. It's a lot of prospects. We are exploring them. Yeah. We have already explored them and we are expanding it. Yeah.
ओके सर, एक डॉक्टर साहब है सुआट से, व्हाट इज द इकोनॉमिक्स ऑफ डिफरेंट प्लांटिंग डेंसिटी पूछ रहे हैं। व्हाट इज द इकोनॉमिक्स ऑफ?
Yeah. Actually, when you grow in a high density planting, na, you can expect so per plant yield of nearly 3 kg is about 3 tons. 3 tons into, if you take up 100 rupees a kilo, 3 lakhs you can get. Whereas the cost of cultivation will be hardly 1 lakh. You get 2 lakh profit there. And the normal density, you get around 60 to 80,000 profit per hectare.
थैंक्स फॉर द वेरी इंफॉर्मेटिव सेशन सर।
Thank
एक
you.
ने
Thank you.
डू यू हैव एनी वैरायटी फॉर डीप ब्लैक सॉइल?
No. Cashew per se and doesn't thrive in black soil. Black soil, it will remain as such, and there will be cracking you can see on the trunk portion. And cashew will not perform in black soil.
Black soil.
And
It's
in
can't
such
fit well.
cases, if at all you want to grow cashew, you have to dig a pit of 1 cubic meter and fill it with the red soil. That's the only option.
Okay, sir. Next है. Thank you for the nice lecture, sir. If cashew
Yeah.
apple has so many byproducts and uses, why is it not popular in India? Is it a problem of awareness, or are Indian cashew apples not that useful?
Indian cashew apples are very much useful as like cashew apples of other countries. They are very tasty. Only thing is that people are not aware of its benefits, nutritional benefits, and its taste. Nobody is aware of its benefits, nutritional benefits, as well as the taste of cashew apple. They simply think that apple cannot be eaten, only nut can be eaten. But whereas in Brazil, earlier they used to throw the nuts and to eat apple.
Very informative lecture. Thank you, sir, for your nice presentation. Sir, drone pollination feasible? क्या इसमें drone के द्वारा pollination feasible है? एक ने पूछा है.
No. Cashew pollen is very sticky. So the drone pollination is not at all feasible at this juncture. And cashew has got stingless bees as pollinators. Normal honeybees are not the major pollinators. They hardly pollinate cashew. There are stingless bees which effectively pollinate cashew. And we have developed a bee cafeteria which can be established around the cashew plantation. And the cafeteria can host the many species of stingless bees. And then they will migrate to cashew and they effect the pollination.
Very nice and information lecture, sir. Are there any selling or peeling small tools developed since in Dhubri in Assam? It's drawn in small scale. पता नहीं ये
Yeah.
क्वेश्चन है कि सजेशन है?
What is it a suggestion? What is it? Dumri.
हाँ.
Yeah, we have got a cashew there. There are processing industries, but not well developed compared to South and even Odisha.
जी सर, एक क्वेश्चन है.
Yeah.
Is there any possibility to grow cashew nut in northeast India condition?
Very much possible. We are growing there.
हाँ.
Yeah. So many hectares are available.
As per my opinion is concerned, cashew nut in northeast India, particularly in Assam, cashew is typically a tropical crop and require a specific climate and soil conditions to thrive. And
yeah,
assam
yeah.
subtropical climate with hot summers and cold winter may per same region, sir.
Yes, it is. See, now it is expanding to those areas wherein winter is a bit severe compared to the coastal area. Yeah, cashew is adapting itself.
Sir, how to control the stored cashew bombs?
Stored?
Stored cashew bombs.
No, I didn't get worms. Worms or what? Kernels?
WORMS. cashew worms को कैसे control करें?
Oh, cashew worm, it's, you mean stem and root borer, or is it a stored pest?
ठीक है sir. Stored
No,
pest की
there
बारे
are
में
two types. Is he referring to stored pest or pest on the crop? Is it a storage pest, you mean?
storage pest की बात कर रहे हैं sir.
Okay. Storage pest there are, I mean, we have to do fumigation in the storage area. That is a recommended practice. All the factories do fumigation in the storage area. That is how they control stored pests.
एक स्टूडेंट की क्वेरी है सर कि सजेस्ट सम ऑर्गेनिक मेथड और कल्टीवेटिंग द काजू.
Organic method, you don't apply chemical fertilizers and you cannot control tea mosquito bug. We have tried all the botanicals. That is why now we are going for pheromone method. And stem and root borer sanitation is very important. And organic method, you cannot cultivate in a huge area. You can cultivate in a limited area by supplementing with farm yard manure and vermicompost. That's all. And whereas with respect to controlling TMB, there is a huge challenge in organic cashew cultivation.
ओके सर. क्या नेत्रा जंबो जो है वो महाराष्ट्र में सर्वाइव कर सकती है?
Definitely, it is performing excellently in Maharashtra, Odisha, Kerala. We have given it for all India trial, Dr. Ankurji. We have got jumbo to 14 centers all across India. Everywhere it is performing well. That is why Modi ji ने इसको recommend किया ना, release किया ना. It is performing well. No, your voice is breaking. No, your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking. Can you please repeat?
मेरी आवाज आ रही है सर? अब आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ, अभी आ रहा है.
इसीलिए सर जो 109 वेराइटीज है उसमें आपके इंस्टीट्यूट की 2 वेराइटीज हैं जो ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने रिलीज किया है. बायो 45 वेराइटीज.
Yes, I am happy that I was the leader for both the varieties.
Heartily congratulations sir. Heartily congratulations.
Thank you.
जी, एक क्वेश्चन है सर. वैसे बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस हो रहे हैं. जो क्वेश्चंस मुझे लग रहे हैं ठीक ठाक मैं उनका बता रहा हूं और कुछ क्वेश्चंस अगर रह जाएं तो मैं भी हॉर्टिकल्चर का स्टूडेंट हूं. आप मुझसे भी पूछ सकते हैं. मैं सर की ईमेल आईडी भी दूंगा. आप ईमेल आईडी पे भी सर को क्वेश्चंस कर सकते हैं. यदि किसी का स्किप हो जाए तो उसके लिए मैं लिख के भी सॉरी बोल दूंगा और मुंह से भी बोल रहा हूं. Very informative, interesting session. Very fruitful discussion. Thanks, Dr. Dinakar sir and Dr. Ankur sir. इसमें तो मेरी तारीफ है. Thank you, sir. Informative session. What is the base temperature of Kaju?
Yeah, that is we recommend 18 degree.
Okay.
18 degree. Yes.
Very nice presentation, sir. Can we grow as प्राकृतिक खेती?
Yeah, that is natural farming. Correct. Natural farming.
Natural farming.
Yes. Definitely, by default, in most of the parts, cashew is grown as a natural crop, natural farming. Especially Northeast, they don't apply fertilizers, they don't spray anything. Whatever yield they get, they will get. And we cannot be Atmanirbhar if you go for natural खेती or organic खेती. If you want to develop the production, you need to go for integrated farming only.
एक दो क्वेश्चंस और हैं सर छोटे-छोटे.
Yeah.
Okay, sir, what is the export earnings from the Kaju export contributing to national GDP?
It is very, very less now. You can say in 0.2 to 0.25%, not more than that, because our export is declining because we are only consuming cashew. Whatever we produce is not enough for our consumption. That is why we are importing. सो एक्सपोर्ट की बात ही नहीं आते, क्योंकि इंटरनल डिमांड इतना सारा है कि एक्सपोर्ट करने की कोई, आई मीन एक्सपोर्ट से फायदा भी नहीं मिल रहा है हमारा वो इंडस्ट्री को. दे आर गेटिंग
जी
हायर प्रॉफिट बाय डोमेस्टिक मार्केट देन एक्सपोर्टिंग इट. That
जी
is why
जी
they are
सर,
not going for export. When
जी
the domestic consumption is, I mean, domestic supply is more profitable than export, who will go for export? Nobody will go for export. That is the scenario now.
जी। एक क्वेश्चन है सर कि व्हाई वी आर एक्सपोर्टिंग टू वियतनाम?
We are not exporting to Vietnam.
ओके।
Who said? Vietnam is exporting to India actually. Vietnam में जो छोटा मोटा kernels आते हैं ना, splits and pieces, there is no market in Vietnam. They will dump to India at a cheaper cost. Because
ओके
India
सर,
has
ओके
got a huge market even for pieces, small pieces, the large pieces. So that is the trade in cashew.
जी सर, जी सर। बाकी सर मेरी समझ से हो गया है। यदि
हाँ,
किसी का कुछ बचा होगा तो मैं उनसे
yes,
कहूंगा कि वो मुझसे व्हाट्सअप कर लें, या मैं एक
yeah, you
ईमेल दे
can,
दूंगा, है ना?
yes, yes.
ईमेल
I
पे
will
वो
reply them.
जी जी सर।
Yeah, yeah,
जी,
yeah, 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 yeah.
बहुत बहुत
So
धन्यवाद सर। जी।
hope all the participants are happy with the information
हम्म,
they have received.
जी जी
And anything is lacking, or if you need some more information, they can always send an email to me, and I'll
हम्म,
be more than happy to reply to them.
जी। बाकी मैं पीपीटी भी ग्रुप में शेयर कर दूंगा, हमारे पास इसका रिकॉर्डेड
Yes,
वीडियो भी है, मैं उस पर
yes,
शेयर कर दूंगा। कोई क्वेरी यदि है तो डायरेक्टर साहब से भी आप डायरेक्ट पूछ सकते हैं। यदि केजू
yes,
में कोई क्वेरी है, अगर हॉर्टिकल्चरल एस्पेक्ट में कहीं कोई क्वेरी है, तो मैं भी जवाब दे सकता हूं, थोड़ा बहुत उसका मैं समझता हूं उसको। तो
yes,
बहुत
yes.
बहुत धन्यवाद सर कि आपने आज
Thank
हमारे
you.
इनॉग्रल एड्रेस या इनॉग्रल स्पीकर आप हमारे बने। और सही बोलूं तो जो आईसीआर डीसीआर पुतुर है, हमेशा फाउंडेशन को सपोर्ट किया है, किसी भी कंटेक्स्ट में बात रही हो। तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर इस सपोर्ट के लिए। और आप तो
Thank
हमारे
you.
गुरु भी हैं, आपने हमें
Thank you.
पढ़ाया,
Thank
आपने
you.
शिक्षा दी है ना? मैं तो कुछ नहीं हूँ आपके सामने, लेकिन
Nahin,
बहुत बहुत
nahin, nahin.
धन्यवाद के बहुत बहुत
Thank you
धन्यवाद
so
कि
much.
आपने।
God bless you
जी
all, and wish you all the best for the remaining sessions of the program. Right?
जी जी।
Thank you. Thank you, Ji.
ओके
So,
जी, सभी
yeah.
लीव कर सकते हैं, सभी
Yes.
पार्टिसिपेंट्स लेफ्ट कर सकते हैं।